Shocking new leaks just surfaced, suggesting Xi Jinping has walked straight into a sophisticated CIA trap, forcing him to dismantle his own military from the inside without a single shot fired. As central authority wavers, the vision of a fractured China is becoming a reality. We're seeing 11 group armies defying orders, carving out territory, and moving toward total independence. Is the era of the Seven Kingdoms here? Watch now on China Focal Point. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. We're building a community dedicated to uncovering the truth about China, and we're thrilled to have you with us.
Hi, I'm Alex. Welcome back to China Focal Point. On February 8th, commentator Lao Deng said that he received explosive news from whistleblowers, claiming that the massive purge gutting the Chinese military was actually a masterclass in deception. We're talking about a calculated CIA counter-espionage trap designed to sow discord at the very top.
According to The Scoop, the arrests of Zhang Yuxia, Liu Zhenli, and the military's top brass weren't based on facts. They were the result of Xi Jinping falling for a high-stakes sting. By feeding rumors through internal channels, the CIA successfully poisoned Xi's trust in his inner circle, sparking a disaster that has left his command in absolute ruins. Zhang Yuxia, the CMC vice chairman, has long been known as a military pillar and a hawk, especially regarding relations with the United States. Insiders reveal that as early as 2016, Zhang's son-in-law led a key intelligence group within the CMC, providing strategic suggestions to the top leadership. During the early stages of China-US trade friction, this group submitted multiple petitions advocating for tougher measures in the South China Sea and Taiwan to counter the US, suggestions that directly influenced Xi Jinping's aggressive foreign policy and accelerated island construction. Zhang Yuxia's reports emphasized that the US pivot to Asia was an encirclement that must be met with firm military strength. This view earned him broad support and made him a trusted pillar for Xi. However, this tough stance also made him a target for overseas forces. The CIA, viewing him as a serious obstacle, began laying out their discord stratagem, penetrating Zhongnanhai through relatives of high-ranking officials and personnel in the intelligence and diplomatic systems. At the heart of this scoop is the CIA's alleged penetration network, which reportedly reached into Xi's inner circle, including his wife, Peng Liyuan, his daughter, Xi Mingzi, his brother, Xi Jinping, and his sister, Qi Qiao, alongside several high-ranking officials. These individuals were not described as active traitors, but rather as unwitting tools used to transmit information through their close personal ties. The CIA first spread rumors through diplomatic channels that Zhang Yuxia was pro-American and that his son-in-law had secret contacts with US intelligence, specifically claiming the US National Security Advisor requested a private meeting with him. These rumors were then packaged as reliable intelligence and reached Xi's ears through these hidden lines. As First Lady, Peng Liyuan's staff might have been influenced to provide family perspective concerns, while Xi's daughter, brother, and sister unintentionally became channels for negative evaluations. Meanwhile, forged evidence suggested Zhang's 2016 hardline advice was actually serving personal interests with suspicions of selling intelligence. These rumors accumulated, eventually shaking Xi's judgment like a poison seed taking root. Influenced by these reports and overseas self-media rumors of Xi down, Zhang up, Xi ordered a large-scale purge. The first to suffer were the rocket force's top brass, including Wei Fenghe and Li Shengfu, who were accused of corruption and leaking secrets. The purge then expanded to the CMC with the arrests of Miao Hua and He Weidong, followed by the shocking arrest of Vice Chairman Zhang Yuxia and General Liu Zhenli. This follows the earlier falls of figures like Fang Fengwei and Zhang Yang, the latter of whom took his own life under investigation. Sources reveal these actions were not based on hard evidence, but on a general suspicion of pro-American factions, leading to a disruption in the military chain of command and low morale as almost the entire rocket force leadership was replaced. The whistleblower emphasizes that Xi's decisions stem from extreme distrust caused by the CIA's stratagem, drawing parallels to the tragic fate of General Yuan Chongwan at the end of the Ming dynasty. Just as the Chongzhen emperor executed his loyal general after falling for a Manchu counter-espionage trick, or how Stalin executed Marshal Tukhachevsky based on Nazi forgeries, historians point out that these stratagems exploit the paranoid psychology of dictators. Xi is being described as a modern-day Chongzhen, destroying his own Great Wall, while international rivals reap the benefits. Following Zhang Youxia's fall, Western media reported he sold nuclear secrets, which the whistleblower identifies as a second wave of the CIA offensive to confirm the rumors. Earlier U.S. leaks about Chinese missile bases were not accidental, but the result of long-term penetration, which intensified Xi's distrust of all high-level personnel. Professional analysis suggests the U.S. military is achieving the goal of subduing the enemy without fighting, by disintegrating internal unity. The consequences are clear. Frequent turnover, a lack of combat experience among new crony appointments, and a passive position in the China-US power struggle. Military morale is at an all-time low, with officers fearing they are the next target. Despite the chaos, the party media remains collectively silent, with only the military newspaper speaking out, an extremely rare occurrence in CCP history. In a system based on violent hierarchy, a conflict is inevitable when a ruler pursues absolute personal safety while the bureaucracy worries about regime survival. The current crisis is not a normal rotation, but a precursor to a systemic loss of control. Power operations are no longer about struggle but are emergency reactions dominated by personal security anxiety. As Xi Jinping senses an irreversible decline, he may launch a frenzied counterattack, further intensifying the backlash. The Zhang Youxia incident is likely only the first tremor of an impending seismic upheaval, laying bare a power structure that is sliding toward a perilous tipping point of extreme instability. China is breaking apart, the military battles for territory, seceding from the central government. Amid the dire and rapidly unfolding situation in China, the fates of generals Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli remain uncertain, with the CCP military's response emerging as the central concern for overseas analysts. According to commentator Li Muyang, whispers from within the corridors of power suggest that at the very moment Xi Jinping announced the investigation into Zhang and Liu, he issued a sweeping, absolute order. Freeze all military movement rights. The decree demanded the immediate cancellation of every drill and exercise outside of barracks. In a bid for total control, Xi mandated that any movement whatsoever must be jointly approved by himself and Jiang Shengmin. But the response was not the expected submission. Instead, it was met with a wave of soft resistance that has rippled across various theater commands. Intelligence sources indicate a staggering defiance. Out of the 13 group armies spread across the 5 theater commands, 11 have directly refused to execute the order to halt movements. The result? A landscape in motion. Massive convoys of military vehicles, columns of soldiers, heavy tanks, and even sophisticated missile systems have been spotted flooding the roads of Shandong, Inner Mongolia, Jiangsu, Anhui, Guangdong, and Guangxi. The emergency plan theory. Is this a chaotic uprising? Perhaps not. Former CCP Navy Lieutenant Colonel Yao Cheng offers a chilling analysis. These abnormal movements are not a spontaneous mutiny, but rather a planned, tiered combat readiness deployment. His revelations suggest the military actually completed this massive deployment 10 days ago, structured in 2 lethal phases. First, various theater commands, with a focus on high-readiness synthetic brigades, are conducting concealed combat readiness and preventive deployments deep within their respective sectors. Second, the steel ring around Beijing has been significantly tightened, creating a formidable peripheral defense posture. Yao Cheng posits that General Zhang Youxia was well aware that Xi Jinping was moving to eliminate him. What began as a move by Xi to force Zhang into a quiet retirement has spiraled into a brutal life-and-death struggle. Zhang did not wait to be taken. He struck back, systematically stripping Xi of his support by removing key allies like He Weidong from the inner circle. Anticipating Xi's moves, Zhang reportedly prepared multiple contingencies, with a specific focus on emergency protocols. The unified, synchronized actions we see today across the theater commands are likely the activation of Zhang Yuxia's prearranged emergency survival plans. A vision of 7 kingdoms. As the central authority wavers, a radical new map of China is being drawn. Xi Jinping, chairman of the China Democracy Party, suggests that military commanders have moved past the question of loyalty to Xi. Instead, they are huddled in closed-door meetings, debating a single, pragmatically cold question. Where does the military go if Xi Jinping falls or dies? In the ultimate game of survival, the army seeks only to stand with the victor. And in their eyes, Xi is drifting further and further from victory. The reports of these strategic movements paint a picture of a nation carving itself into independent armed regimes. In the southern theater, the 74th and 75th Group armies are concentrating on the hubs of Guangzhou, Changsha, Nanning, and Guiyang. Their alleged objective? To seize control of 5 provinces, Yunnan, Guangxi, Guizhou, Hunan, and Guangdong, and declare total independence from the central government. In the northern theater, the 78th, 79th, and 80th Group armies are pushing toward Harbin, Changchun, Hohhot, Shenyang, and Jinan, eyeing control of 5 northern provinces. In the central theater, the 81st, 82nd, and 83rd Group armies are moving to dominate Xi'an, Taiyuan, Tianjin, Zhengzhou, and Wuhan, effectively seizing the heart of the capital region. In the western theater, the 76th and 77th Group armies are massing toward Lanzhou, Chengdu, and Chongqing to secure the vast western frontier, including the restive regions of Tibet and Xinjiang. Xi Jinping warns that if this trajectory holds, China will fracture into 5 independent local armed regimes, based on the theater commands. And with Tibet and Xinjiang likely to seize the moment to demand their own sovereignty, we could see the rapid emergence of 7 independent states rising from the ashes of the current regime.
What's your take on the prospect of China fracturing into 7 independent breakaway states? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this report, hit like and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one on China Focal Point.